Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the large window of Luna Station, watching Earth spin slowly in the darkness of space. The blue planet looked peaceful from here, but she knew that peace came at a great cost. For 3 years, humanity had stayed out of the Great War that was tearing the galaxy apart. The war had started when the Vex Empire attacked the hegemony of flesh over mining rights in the Outer Rim. Both sides were powerful. The Vex were made of living crystal and could control energy like magic. The hegemony changed their bodies with strange science, making themselves stronger and faster than any normal creature. Chen had seen the reports from the war zones. Entire planets burned, billions of people died. Whole star systems went dark when their suns were turned into weapons. It was the most terrible war the galaxy had ever known, but Earth stayed neutral. It was Chen's job to make sure it stayed that way. A soft beep from her communication device broke her thoughts. "Admiral, the Vex ambassador is here to see you," said Lieutenant Torres. Chen sighed. This would be the 15th time a Vex ambassador had come to ask for Earth's help. "Send him to meeting room 3, she said. The ambassador was called Kethvar. He was tall and thin, made of blue crystal that glowed softly in the dim light. When he spoke, his voice sounded like wind chimes. "Admiral Chen," he said, bowing his crystal head. "I bring greetings from the Vex High Council." "Hello, Ambassador," Chen said, sitting across from him at the metal table. "What can Earth do for you today?" Kethvar leaned forward. "The war goes badly for us. The hegemony has new weapons. They grow stronger each day. We need Earth's help." Chen had heard this before. "What are you offering this time?" "Mining rights to the Zephyr system," Kethvar said. His crystal body glowed brighter with excitement. "Rare metals worth more than your entire planet's economy. And protection from hegemony attacks." Chen shook her head. "Ambassador, you know our answer. Earth does not take sides in this war. We will trade with both the Vex and the hegemony, but we will not fight for either." "But your defensive technology," Kethvar pressed. "Your shield systems are the best in the galaxy. With them we could—" "No," Chen said firmly. "Earth's policy is clear. We stay neutral." The ambassador's glow dimmed. "Admiral, you cannot stay neutral forever. This war will reach you eventually." "Maybe," Chen said, "but not today." After Kethvar left, Chen walked to the Deep Space Observatory on the other side of Luna Station. Dr. Marcus Webb was there, staring at screens full of data and star maps. Webb was a thin man with gray hair who had been watching the galaxy's radio signals for 20 years. "Another visit from our crystal friend?" Webb asked without looking up. "The same offer as always," Chen said. "Mining rights protection, and all we have to do is give them our shield technology." Webb pointed at his screens. "Look at this, Sarah. The Kepler system went dark yesterday. That's 40 billion people gone. The Vega colonies were attacked last week. The hegemony is using some kind of bioweapon that eats through Vex crystal armor." Chen studied the star map. Red dots marked dead systems. There were hundreds of them. "I know, Marcus, but getting involved won't bring those people back." "Earth's defenses are strong," Webb said, "but they're not perfect. What happens when one side gets desperate enough to try taking our technology by force?" "That's why we have the defense grid," Chen said. The defense grid was a network of automated weapons platforms that surrounded human space. Nothing could get through without Earth's permission. "No one has ever broken through it," Webb shook his head. "I've been listening to the radio chatter from the war zones. Both sides are getting more desperate. They're using weapons that shouldn't exist. Planet killers, star destroyers. How long before someone decides that Earth's neutrality is just another obstacle to remove?" Chen was about to answer when alarms started blaring throughout Luna Station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Torres's voice came over the communication system. "Admiral Chen to the command center immediately. We have unknown ships approaching the Sol system." Chen and Webb ran through the station's corridors to the command center. The room was full of people working at computer screens and talking rapidly into headsets. Torres met them at the door. "Report," Chen ordered. "Long-range sensors picked them up an hour ago," Torres said. 12 large ships moving fast toward our space. They don't match any known ship designs." Chen looked at the main screen. The ships were dark shapes against the stars, bigger than anything the Vex or hegemony used. "Are they responding to our radio signals?" "No, Admiral. They're not talking to us at all." "Could they be refugees?" Webb asked. "Maybe survivors from one of the dead systems?" Torres shook her head. "These aren't refugee ships, Doctor. Our computers say they're heavily armed. Military vessels, Chen felt a cold worry in her stomach. For 3 years, Earth's defense grid had kept everyone out. No one had even tried to test it. Both the Vex and Hegemony respected human space and asked permission before entering. How long until they reach the outer defense platforms? Chen asked. 6 hours, Admiral. Chen looked at the screen again. The unknown ships kept coming, straight toward Earth. They weren't slowing down. They weren't asking permission. They were just coming. Send a message on all frequencies, Chen ordered. Tell them they're entering human space without permission. Ask them to stop and identify themselves. Torres nodded and started typing. A few minutes later, she looked up. Message sent, Admiral. No response. Webb moved closer to Chen. Sarah, what if these aren't from either side of the war? What if there's a third player we don't know about? Chen watched the dark ships on the screen. They looked different from Vex crystal ships or Hegemony bio vessels. They looked dangerous. Then we're about to find out what they want, she said. Torres, contact Earth Defense Command. Tell them to put all defense platforms on high alert and send a message to both the Vex and Hegemony ambassadors. Ask them if these ships are theirs. The command center buzzed with activity as her orders were carried out. Chen kept staring at the screen, watching the unknown ships come closer to human space. For 3 years, Earth had stayed out of the galaxy's war, but now war might be coming to Earth. And Chen had the feeling that everything was about to change. The unknown ships reached the outer edge of human space exactly when Torres had predicted. Admiral Chen watched from Luna Station's command center as 12 dark vessels approached the defense grid. Each ship was massive, twice the size of Earth's largest military vessels. Still no response to our messages. Admiral, Torres reported. Chen gripped the edge of the command table. Are the defense platforms ready? All systems armed and ready, Admiral. The grid can stop anything. That was when the unknown ships opened fire. Bright beams of energy lanced out from the dark vessels, striking the automated defense platforms. Chen expected to see the beams bounce harmlessly off the shields. Instead, she watched in horror as the platforms exploded one by one. How is that possible? Webb whispered beside her. The unknown ships pushed through the defense grid like it wasn't there. Weapons that had protected human space for 3 years were destroyed in minutes. The ships moved in perfect formation, heading straight for the inner system. Torres was shouting orders to her team. Contact all defense stations. Get me Admiral Martinez at Earth Command. A new voice came over the communication system. It was deep and rough, speaking English with a strange accent. Humans of Earth. I am War Master Thanedoc of the Korth Syndicate. Your defense grid was impressive, but we have studied your technology for many months. We know your weaknesses. Chen grabbed a microphone. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You have attacked our territory without cause. Leave immediately or face the consequences. Thanedoc laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Consequences? You peaceful humans with your neutral policies? We have watched you for 3 years. You do nothing while the galaxy burns. You are weak. The main screen changed to show one of the Korth ships. It was dark gray and covered with weapon ports. It looked like it was built only for war. We offer you a choice, Admiral Chen, Thanedoc continued. Give us all your military technology. Your ship designs, your weapon systems, your shield generators. Submit to Korth rule. Do this and we will let your species live as our servants. Never, Chen said. Then we will show you what happens to those who refuse the Korth Syndicate. The communication ended. On the screen, one of the Korth ships turned away from the Sol system and jumped to faster-than-light speed. Chen knew where it was going before Torres even confirmed it. They're heading for Proxima Centauri, Admiral, the research station there. Proxima Centauri was the closest human colony to Earth. 30,000 people lived and worked there, studying new planets and looking for signs of alien life. Many of them had families. Many of them were just children. How long until our ships can reach Proxima? Chen asked. 2 hours at best, Admiral. The Korth ship will be there in 30 minutes. Chen closed her eyes. Earth's military ships were fast, but not that fast. There was nothing they could do to protect the colony. The wait was terrible. Chen and her team could only watch as the Korth ship arrived at Proxima Centauri. The research station sent desperate messages for help. Then the station's cameras showed the Korth ship charging its weapons. Please, this is Director Hamilton at Proxima Station, came a frightened voice over the radio. We have 30,000 civilians here, families, children. We surrender. Please don't, The transmission cut off. The Korth ship fired a single massive beam of energy. The research station, the orbital platforms, even the small moon where the colonists had built their homes. All of it disappeared in a flash of white light. 30,000 people. Gone in seconds. The command center was completely quiet. Torres was crying. Webb had his head in his hands. Other officers stared at their screens in shock. Chen felt something cold and hard settle in her chest. For 3 years she had kept Earth out of the war. She had believed that staying neutral was the right thing to do. Now she saw what neutrality had cost. "Admiral," Torres said quietly, "Earth Defense Command is calling an emergency meeting." The meeting was held in the secure conference room deep inside Luna Station. Admiral Martinez appeared on the screen from Earth, along with General Thompson, Defense Minister Park, and other high-ranking officials. They all looked as shocked as Chen felt. "The situation is clear," Martinez said. "The Korth Syndicate has declared war on humanity. They've shown they can break through our defenses, and they've proven they will kill civilians without hesitation." Minister Park leaned forward. "What do we know about these Korth?" Webb had spent the last hour researching everything Earth's computers had about the mysterious aliens. "They're not part of either side in the Great War," he said. "They're mercenaries and raiders. They move from system to system, taking what they want and selling their services to whoever pays the most." "How did they get through our defense grid so easily?" General Thompson asked. "They've been watching us," Chen realized, "studying our technology. They knew exactly what weapons to use against our shields." "The question is," Martinez said, "what do we do now?" Chen looked around the room at Earth's military leaders. For 3 years, they had all supported the neutrality policy. They had believed that staying out of the war was the safest choice for humanity. But the Korth had changed everything. They had proven that neutrality was not protection. They had shown that sometimes when evil comes to your door, you have to fight back. "We have options," General Thompson said. "We could try to negotiate. Offer them something other than our military technology." "They killed 30,000 people to make a point," Chen said. "What makes you think they'll negotiate now?" Minister Park looked worried. "If we fight back, we might lose. The Korth broke through our best defenses in minutes. And if we don't fight back," Chen said, "they'll take everything. Our technology, our freedom, our lives. They've already proven they don't care about killing innocent people." Webb spoke up from his corner of the room. "There's something else to consider. If the Korth get our technology, what do you think they'll do with it? They're mercenaries. They'll sell it to whoever pays the most in the Great War." The room fell quiet as everyone understood what that meant. Earth's defensive technology was the most advanced in the galaxy. In the wrong hands, it could tip the balance of the war and cause billions more deaths. Admiral Martinez made the decision. "We fight. We can't let the Korth have our technology, and we can't let them think humanity is weak. Admiral Chen, I'm putting you in charge of our response. What do you need?" Chen felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. 30,000 people were already dead because she had failed to protect them. She would not fail again. "I need to know everything about our real military strength," she said. "Not just the public ships and stations, everything." Martinez nodded. "You'll have full access to Project Prometheus. All of it." Chen had heard rumors about Project Prometheus, but she had never been cleared to know the details. It was Earth's most secret military project, hidden even from most of the Defense Force. "What is Project Prometheus?" she asked. Martinez smiled for the first time since the meeting began. It was not a kind smile. "It's what we've been building while the galaxy thought we were weak and peaceful," he said. "Admiral Chen, the Korth Syndicate has made a terrible mistake. They've awakened something they should have left sleeping." Admiral Chen stood in the secret briefing room 3 levels below Luna Station's main command center. The room she had never known existed was filled with holographic displays, showing ship designs and weapon systems that looked nothing like the peaceful vessels humanity showed to the galaxy. "Admiral." Martinez's image appeared on the main screen from Earth. Behind him stood General Thompson and a woman Chen didn't recognize. "Admiral Chen." "Meet Dr. Elizabeth Kane," Martinez said. "She's the director of Project Prometheus." Dr. Kane was a small woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes. She looked like a grandmother, but when she spoke, her voice carried the authority of someone who commanded deadly secrets. "For 3 years, Admiral, humanity has played the role of peaceful neutrals," Dr. Kane said. "But we have not been idle. Project Prometheus has been preparing for the day when peace would no longer protect us. The holographic displays around Chen showed dozens of ship designs. They were sleek and dangerous looking, covered with weapon systems she had never seen before. Every cargo ship in the human merchant fleet, Dr. Kane continued, is actually a disguised warship. Every mining platform in the asteroid belt can transform into a weapons platform. Every civilian space station has hidden military capabilities. Chen stared at the displays. How is this possible?
I've inspected those ships myself. You've seen what we wanted you to see, Dr. Kane said.
Holographic camouflage, hidden compartments, weapons that look like mining equipment. For 3 years, we've built the most advanced military fleet in the galaxy, while everyone believed we were defenseless merchants and researchers. Martinez leaned forward on the screen. The Korth studied our public defenses, Admiral. They have no idea what our real strength looks like. Chen felt a mixture of relief and anger. Relief that humanity wasn't as helpless as she had thought. Anger that she had been kept in the dark about her own species' military capabilities. Why wasn't I told about this before? She asked. Because your reaction had to be genuine, General Thompson said. If you had known about Prometheus, you might have acted differently when dealing with ambassadors from both sides of the war. They might have suspected something. Dr. Kane activated another display. This one showed the positions of Korth ships in the Sol system. The enemy has 11 ships remaining after sending one to attack Proxima Centauri. They're in a standard occupation formation around Earth. What are our real capabilities against them? Chen asked. 3 heavy battle fleets, Dr. Kane said. The merchant ships can drop their disguises and form battle groups within 6 hours. The mining platforms are already in position around Jupiter and Saturn, and we have weapons the Korth have never seen before. She showed Chen technical readouts for something called a quantum torpedo. The weapon could phase through enemy shields and explode inside their ships. How long have you been developing these? Chen asked. Since before the Great War began, Dr. Kane said. We saw the tensions building between the Vex and hegemony. We knew that eventually humanity would be forced to choose sides or defend itself. We chose a third option. Be ready for anything. Admiral Martinez spoke again. Admiral Chen, you are now in command of the Terran Defense Fleet. Not the patrol ships and system guards the galaxy knows about, but our real military force. Captain Santos is waiting for you at the hidden shipyard behind Jupiter's moon Ganymede. Chen had served with Maria Santos before. She was one of the best ship commanders in the human fleet, though Chen had always wondered why Santos had been assigned to cargo escort duty for the past 2 years. She wasn't escorting cargo, was she? Chen asked. She was commanding the TFS Retribution, Dr. Kane said. Our most advanced warship. The Korth are about to meet the real human military. 2 hours later, Chen was aboard a fast courier ship heading for Ganymede. The ship looked like a simple transport vessel from the outside, but its engines were more powerful than anything the public fleet used. They reached Jupiter in record time. The shipyard hidden behind Ganymede took Chen's breath away. Hundreds of ships filled the space around the moon. They were beautiful and terrifying, built for war but looking like works of art. Their hulls gleamed silver and blue, covered with weapon systems that hummed with contained energy. Captain Santos met Chen at the airlock of the TFS Retribution. Santos was a tall woman with dark hair and steady eyes. She had the look of someone who had been waiting for this day for a long time. Welcome aboard, Admiral, Santos said. Are you ready to see what humanity can really do? The Retribution's bridge was unlike anything Chen had ever seen. Instead of the simple control stations she was used to, this ship had a command center that seemed to think for itself. Holographic displays showed every enemy ship in the system. Computer voices provided constant updates on weapons status and tactical situations. The Korth think they're dealing with helpless civilians, Santos said. Let's show them how wrong they are. The attack began with a simple radio message broadcast on all frequencies. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet, Chen said, her voice carrying across the solar system. To the Korth ships in human space, you have committed an act of war against humanity. You have murdered 30,000 innocent people. You have threatened Earth itself. Your surrender is no longer an option. War Master Thanadoc's harsh voice responded immediately. You have no fleet, human admiral. We destroyed your defenses. We have studied your weak military for months. You studied what we let you see, Chen replied. You're about to learn the difference. Santos activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships drop camouflage. Show them who we really are. Across the solar system, the transformation began. Cargo ships that had been orbiting Earth suddenly revealed their true nature as heavy cruisers bristling with weapons. Mining platforms around Jupiter turned out to be mobile battle stations. The research vessels near Mars became destroyers and frigates. In seconds, the Korth found themselves facing not a handful of patrol ships, but 3 full battle fleets with technology they had never seen before. Thanadoc's voice came over the radio again, but this time it sounded less confident. Impossible. Our intelligence was perfect. You cannot have hidden this from us. You saw what we wanted you to see, Chen said. Now face the consequences of your actions. The first battle began near Earth's moon. 3 Korth ships moved to attack what they thought was Luna Station's weak defenses. Instead, they found themselves facing the Retribution and 12 escort ships that had been disguised as orbital supply platforms. Santos commanded the engagement with cool efficiency. Target their weapon systems first. I want to capture at least 1 ship intact for intelligence purposes. The quantum torpedoes performed exactly as Dr. Kane had promised. The strange weapons passed through the Korth shields like they weren't there and exploded inside the enemy hulls. Within minutes, 2 Korth ships were disabled and drifting helplessly. The 3rd Korth ship tried to run, but the human vessels were faster. Santos smiled as her weapons officer reported the enemy ship's surrender. This is just the beginning, Chen announced to her fleet. The Korth wanted war. Now they'll learn what happens when you threaten humanity. Across the solar system, similar battles were taking place. The Korth ships found themselves outnumbered, outgunned, and completely surprised by weapons they couldn't understand or counter. For 3 years, humanity had appeared weak and peaceful. But they had been preparing for this day. The sleeping giant had awakened, and it was very, very angry. The battle for the Sol system was over in 3 hours. 8 Korth ships were destroyed, 3 were captured, and only 1 escaped to hyperspace. But Admiral Chen knew this was just the beginning. The real war would begin when she hunted down the rest of the Korth syndicate. She stood on the bridge of the TFS Retribution, studying holographic displays of the captured enemy vessels. Captain Santos approached with a datapad containing the first intelligence reports. The prisoners are talking, Santos said. War Master Thanedoc was captured alive when his flagship was disabled. He's demanding to speak with you. Chen nodded. What else have we learned? The Korth Syndicate has been operating for 5 years, Santos reported. They started as scavengers in the war zones, but they've grown into something much more dangerous. They have 17 major ships and dozens of smaller vessels spread across 6 star systems. Chen felt a cold determination settle in her stomach. They murdered 30,000 innocent people. They threatened Earth. They plan to sell our technology to fuel the galaxy's war. We're going to hunt down every single one of them. Santos looked surprised. All of them, Admiral? That would mean leaving human space and entering the war zone. That's exactly what it means, Chen said. Neutrality didn't protect us. Hiding behind our defenses didn't save those people at Proxima Centauri. The Korth chose to make war on humanity. Now they'll learn what that really means. An hour later, Chen sat across from War Master Thanedoc in the Retribution's detention center. The Korth leader was a large, brutal-looking creature with thick gray skin and small red eyes. His right arm had been injured when his ship was captured, but he still tried to look threatening. You cannot hold me human, Thanedoc growled. I have committed no crimes against your species. Chen kept her voice calm and cold. You destroyed Proxima Centauri Research Station. You killed 30,000 civilians. You invaded human space and threatened Earth. Acts of war, Thanedoc said with an ugly smile. Your species was in our way. We needed your technology. The weak do not deserve to keep what the strong can take. Tell me about your operation, Chen said. How many ships do you have? Where are your bases? Thanedoc laughed. You think this was our full strength? The ships you destroyed were just one raid group. The Korth Syndicate has dozens of fleets. We have been growing strong while the Vex and Hegemony waste their energy fighting each other. Chen leaned forward. What were you planning to do with Earth's technology? Sell it to whoever paid the most, Thanedoc said proudly. Your defensive systems would have been worth entire star systems. The Vex would have paid billions for your shield generators. The Hegemony would have given us whole planets for your weapon designs. And the war would have gone on for decades, Chen said. Wars are profitable, Thanedoc replied. The longer they last, the more money we make selling weapons and ships to both sides. Chen stood up. She had heard enough. The Korth weren't just raiders or pirates. They were war profiteers who fed on the galaxy's suffering. They made money from death and destruction, and they didn't care how many innocent people died. You made a mistake when you attacked humanity, Chen told the Korth leader. We stayed out of the Great War because we hoped it would end on its own. But you've shown us that some evils can't be ignored. She left Thanedoc in his cell and returned to the bridge. Captain Santos was coordinating with the rest of the fleet, preparing for the next phase of operations. Admiral, Santos said, we've analyzed the navigation data from the captured ships. The Korth have 3 major bases, one in the Kepler system, one near the Vega colonies, and their main headquarters in a mobile fortress called the Iron Citadel. Chen studied the star maps. All 3 locations were deep in the war zone, where Vex and Hegemony fleets had been fighting for 3 years. How many ships can we deploy? 2 full battle fleets, Santos replied. 60 major vessels and over 200 support ships. Dr. Kane says she can have additional reinforcements ready within a week. We're not waiting, Chen decided. The longer we delay, the more time the Korth have to prepare or escape. We hunt them down now before they can regroup. The Terran fleet jumped to hyperspace 12 hours later. Their first target was the Korth base in the Kepler system. Intelligence reports said it was built inside an asteroid field, using the rocks as camouflage and defense. Captain Santos commanded the attack from the Retribution. The human ships used tactics that had never been seen before in the galaxy. Instead of the massive fleet battles favored by the Vex and Hegemony, the Terrans fought with speed and precision. Small fighter squadrons darted through the asteroid field, hunting down Korth patrol ships. The larger human vessels used their advanced sensors to target enemy positions through the rocks. When the Korth tried to hide behind asteroids, the humans simply turned the asteroids themselves into weapons, using gravity manipulation technology to hurl the giant rocks at enemy ships. The battle was brutal and one-sided. The Korth had expected to fight defensive positions from their hidden base. Instead, they found themselves under attack by an enemy that seemed to be everywhere at once. When the Kepler base finally fell, Chen's forces captured detailed records of Korth operations across the galaxy. What they found made her more determined than ever to completely destroy the syndicate. They've been raiding refugee camps, Dr. Webb reported from his analysis station, selling captured civilians as slaves. They attacked a Hegemony medical convoy last month and sold the wounded prisoners to Vex research facilities. Santos looked disgusted. These aren't warriors, Admiral. They're parasites feeding on the war. The second attack came at the Vega colonies. The Korth had built a shipyard there, using enslaved prisoners from both sides of the Great War to build new vessels. Chen's forces arrived to find thousands of Vex and Hegemony prisoners working in terrible conditions. This time, the liberation was personal. Captain Santos led rescue teams into the shipyard, while the fleet engaged the Korth defenders. They freed over 5,000 prisoners, including civilians who had been captured from refugee ships. One of the rescued prisoners was a Vex engineer named Crystalline Song. She had been captured 6 months. Earlier, when her science vessel was attacked by Korth raiders, they made us build ships for them, she told Chen in her musical crystal voice. Ships designed to hunt down other refugees. They were going to sell them to raiders from both sides of the war. Chen felt her anger grow colder and harder. The Korth weren't just profiting from the war. They were making it worse, turning both sides against innocent civilians. Admiral, Santos said, approaching with new intelligence data, we've located the Iron Citadel. It's the Korth's mobile headquarters. Our prisoners say it's where Thanedoc's boss, Supreme Raider Vexhull, coordinates all their operations. Chen looked at the tactical display. The Iron Citadel was enormous, more of a moving city than a ship. It was heavily armed and protected by at least 20 escort vessels. It's also where they keep their main prisoner camps, Santos added. Intelligence suggests there are over 50,000 slaves aboard that ship. Chen made her decision. The Iron Citadel would be their final target. But this wouldn't just be a military victory. It would be a rescue mission that could save tens of thousands of lives. Prepare the fleet, she ordered. We're going to end the Korth syndicate once and for all. As the Terran fleet prepared for its final battle, news of their campaign had begun to spread across the galaxy. Both the Vex Empire and the Hegemony of Flesh were watching in amazement as the peaceful humans systematically destroyed a raider organization that had been terrorizing the war zones for Years Ambassador Kethvar sent a message. From the Vex capital. The High Council wishes to express admiration for humanity's decisive action. Perhaps we misjudged your species' capabilities. But Chen wasn't interested in diplomacy yet. There was still work to do. The Iron Citadel was waiting and 50,000 prisoners were counting on her to succeed. The hunt was almost over. The Iron Citadel drifted through space like a dark metal city, surrounded by 20 Korth warships. It was bigger than anything Admiral Chen had ever seen, stretching for kilometers in every direction. Weapons platforms covered its surface like deadly flowers, and prison sectors bulged from its sides like cancerous growths. Captain Santos stood beside Chen on the bridge of the TFS Retribution, watching the enemy fortress through their sensors. 50,000 prisoners, Santos said quietly. Most of them in sections that will be destroyed if we attack directly. Chen studied the tactical displays. Dr. Kane had been right when she said this would be the hardest battle of the campaign. The Iron Citadel wasn't just a military target. It was a floating prison camp full of innocent people from across the galaxy. We can't use our heavy weapons, Chen realized. Too much risk of hitting the prison sections. The Korth are counting on that, Santos replied. They're using those prisoners as human shields. A communication signal came from the Iron Citadel. The main screen showed a new face, Supreme Raider Vexhull, the leader of the entire Korth syndicate. He was even larger than Thaindok, with scars covering his gray face and cybernetic implants replacing one of his eyes. Admiral Chen, Vexhull said in a voice like grinding metal. I have heard about your recent activities. Very impressive for such a peaceful species. Release the prisoners, Chen said. Surrender your ships. You've lost this war. Vexhull laughed. I think not, human. You see, I have something you want very badly. 50,000 lives from a dozen different species. All of them will die if you attack my fortress. The screen changed to show the prison sections inside the Iron Citadel. Chen saw thousands of beings crammed into small spaces. Vex, hegemony, and species she didn't recognize. Many looked sick or injured. All of them looked hopeless. But I am reasonable, Vexhull continued. I will trade their lives for something simple. Your surrender. Come aboard my fortress, Admiral. Bring your technology and your surrender, and I will let the prisoners go free. Chen looked around the bridge at her officers. They all knew it was a trap. Vexhull would never honor such a deal. He would keep both the prisoners and capture Earth's military secrets. I need another option, Chen said to Santos. Dr. Webb, who had been monitoring enemy communications from his station, looked up with an idea forming in his eyes. Admiral, what if we don't attack the fortress directly? Explain. Webb brought up a new display showing the inside structure of the Iron Citadel. I've been analyzing their power systems. The entire fortress runs on a central reactor core. If we could get inside and shut down their main power, their weapons would go offline and their life support systems would switch to emergency power. That would give us time to rescue the prisoners, Santos realized. But how do we get inside? Their shields are still active. Chen studied the fortress design. There had to be a weakness somewhere. Every ship had maintenance ports, supply docks, waste disposal systems. There, she said, pointing to a small section near the bottom of the fortress. Waste disposal. Even a prison ship has to get rid of garbage. Santos smiled grimly. An infiltration mission through their garbage systems. It's risky, Admiral. Everything about this mission is risky, Chen replied. But it's better than watching 50,000 people die. The plan took 6 hours to prepare. A team of 20 Special Forces soldiers would use a modified shuttle to approach the Iron Citadel through its waste disposal system. Once inside, they would split into 3 groups. 1 to shut down the main reactor, 1 to disable the weapon systems, and 1 to begin evacuating the prisoners. Captain Santos insisted on leading the mission personally. With respect, Admiral, this needs someone with command experience. If something goes wrong, decisions will have to be made quickly. Chen didn't like it, but Santos was right. Take Dr. Webb with you. We'll need his technical skills to shut down their systems. The shuttle launched from the Retribution looking like a piece of space debris. It drifted slowly toward the Iron Citadel, using passive sensors to avoid detection. The Korth ships were focused on the main human fleet, not watching for small objects approaching their waste disposal ports. Chen watched from the command center as Santos's team disappeared into the belly of the enemy fortress. For 30 minutes she heard nothing, Then Webb's voice crackled over their hidden communication system. "We're inside, Admiral. This place is worse than we thought. The prisoners are kept in sections with barely enough air to breathe. Some of the cells don't even have artificial gravity." Santos's voice followed, moving toward the reactor core. "We've encountered light resistance. Most of the Korth crew seems to be manning the weapon systems. The waiting was the hardest part. Chen could only watch her displays and trust that her people would succeed. Around her, the Retribution's crew monitored Korth communications and prepared for the final battle. Then everything happened at once. "Power core secured," Webb reported. "Shutting down main reactor in 3, 2, 1. The Iron Citadel went dark. Its shields flickered and died. The weapons platforms that had been charging to fire at the human fleet went silent. All ships attack now," Chen ordered. The Terran fleet moved forward in perfect coordination. The Korth escort ships, caught off guard by their fortress's sudden vulnerability, tried to respond but were overwhelmed by human firepower. In minutes, most of the enemy vessels were destroyed or disabled, but Supreme Raider Vexhull had one final surprise. "If I cannot have victory," his voice boomed over the communication system, "then no one will have anything." Emergency power came online throughout the Iron Citadel, but instead of restoring life support to the prison sections, it activated the fortress's self-destruct system. "Admiral," Santos's voice came over the radio. "He's going to blow up the entire ship. We have maybe 10 minutes before this thing explodes. 10 minutes to evacuate 50,000 prisoners from a dying fortress. It was impossible, or it would have been, if Earth's forces had been alone." "Admiral Chen," came a new voice over the communication system. It was Ambassador Kethvar of the Vex Empire. "We have been monitoring your battle. The Vex High Council offers assistance in rescuing the prisoners." Chen looked at her displays in amazement. Vex ships were dropping out of hyperspace around the Iron Citadel. Not just a few vessels, but an entire rescue fleet. A second voice joined the first. "The Hegemony also offers aid," said a Hegemony commander. "Our bioships can carry large numbers of refugees." Within minutes, ships from both sides of the Great War were working together to evacuate the Iron Citadel. Vex transport vessels used their energy manipulation abilities to cut through the fortress's hull and reach trapped prisoners. Hegemony bioships extended organic tendrils that could reach into spaces too, small for normal rescue craft. Chen's own forces coordinated the massive rescue operation while fighting off the few remaining Korth ships. It was the largest rescue mission in galactic history, and it was being carried out by 3 species that had never worked together before. Santos and her team were among the last to be evacuated, carrying Vexhull himself as a prisoner. The Supreme Raider had been captured while trying to escape in a hidden shuttle. The Iron Citadel exploded just as the final rescue ship cleared its blast radius. But instead of 50,000 deaths, there were 50,000 lives saved. In the aftermath, as the rescued prisoners were transferred to medical ships and temporary shelters, Chen found herself in a communication conference with leaders from across the galaxy. The Vex High Council, the Hegemony Central Command, and Earth's own government were all represented. "The Korth Syndicate is finished," Chen reported. "We've captured their leadership, destroyed their fleets, and freed all their prisoners. They will never threaten innocent people again." Ambassador Kethvar's crystal form glowed brightly. "Admiral Chen, the Vex Empire wishes to thank humanity for your decisive action. The Korth had been raiding our supply lines for months. We could not spare the forces to stop them while fighting the Hegemony." The Hegemony commander, a being that looked like a mixture of plant and animal, nodded agreement. "Your actions have saved lives on both sides of our conflict. Perhaps it is time to reconsider this war that has cost so much." Chen felt a moment of hope. Earth's position hasn't changed. "We still believe this war serves no one's interests, but we've also learned that sometimes neutrality isn't enough. When innocent people are threatened by those who profit from war and suffering, someone has to act." 3 months later, Chen stood again at the window of Luna Station, looking out at Earth. But the view was different now. Ships from dozens of species moved through human space under the protection of the Terran Defense Fleet. Earth had established the Sol Protection Zone, a region where refugees and non-combatants from both sides of the war could find safety. The Great War between the Vex and Hegemony continued, but it had changed. Both sides were more interested in negotiating peace than achieving total victory, partly because they now knew that humanity would intervene if the conflict threatened innocent civilians. Captain Santos, recently promoted to admiral, approached with the daily reports. "The refugee camps are at full capacity," she said, "but no one is complaining. For the first time in years, there are places in the galaxy where families don't have to worry about raiders or military attacks."